Hey guys, it's the WalterFootball.com After Dark Show for March 14th, 2024. We're going to be doing more NFL free agency signing grades and NFL trade grades. We did a bunch yesterday with Jacob, doing some more today with Kenny, and then we're going to get into some other stuff. Kenny's going to tell me that I wasted $260 on something. And then maybe at the end, we'll talk some TV shows or something. But as usual, we'll be up to our hijinks on Wednesday. Joined by Kenny, the owner of thecapIsFake.com. Kenny, how are you?
Oh, bro, I'm just, enjoying Florida weather. It was like almost 90 degrees a day. Just living the life, bro.
That's nice. Well, I like it's a rare occasion when I could say Philly was nicer than Florida. It was 72 today. So I broke out the flip-flops when I took my son to swim lessons. It was nice. It's always better to take my son to swim lessons when it's warmer out, because otherwise you have to put all these layers on, and then you have to hear it from the wife saying, "Oh, he's not wearing enough clothes, it's gonna be cold." And I'm like, well, it's a 2-second walk to the car, so it's not gonna be that bad. But yeah, it is annoying to dress a 2-year-old in many layers. So I always like when it's warmer out on Wednesdays. So that's how things are going for me. Outside of grading all these signings and trades.
I love it. Yeah, free agency. It's funny. I feel like free agency was not as exciting the last couple of years. I don't know why. Maybe it's just the crop of free agents that was out. Maybe it was just the moves that have happened. I've been like way more in the free agency this year than I have in the last couple of years.
Okay, that's interesting. Yeah, we had it was last year we had this crazy quarterback carousel, or was it 2 years ago? When I think it was yeah, I can't remember exactly, but
Yeah,
we had
last year, right.
yeah, last year, yeah. We had this crazy quarterback carousel, so it's interesting to say that. But yeah, I mean, we've had some quarterback movement as well, and we had some signings today. So we'll get into all that. Please hit like, subscribe, comment below, share this video, visit the link in the description for the merch store. All that would mean a lot to us. We had 4 super chats yesterday. So if you really want to help support the show, super chats would be the way. I always read out. I'm not going to do it again because I did it yesterday. I always read out how much we made on YouTube ads. It's like 90 cents, $1.20. We had like one day that was $1.90. It's like crazy, insane money that we got there. But then it was like down to 20 cents the next day. So kind of average to like what it usually is. So to keep the show going, just really the super chats would be great. So would really appreciate that. So all right, let's get into some trades and signings. Not going to talk about every single signing, otherwise we'd be here for a while. Jacob and I, if we did all the signings from Tuesday from Monday and Tuesday, like we would still be talking right now. Luckily, there were fewer signings today, but I'm not going to talk about the minor ones. There were 2 trades though. I'm going to get into that. The Jets acquired Morgan Moses from the Ravens. They swapped 4th-round picks. The Jets gave up a 6th-round pick. I like the move. I mean, Morgan Moses played for them a couple years ago, so he's going to fit right in, I think. And the Jets needed offensive line help. Like Aaron Rodgers went down last year, but that wasn't the only problem. Like they couldn't block for Zach Wilson. And I'm no Zach Wilson fan, but he had no chance behind that horrible offensive line. So they needed to rebuild with Aaron Rodgers coming back. Presumably, I mean, who knows? Maybe he's going to be RFK's VP. But if he does come back, they're going to need better protection for him. And this is definitely a step in the right direction. Like Moses is not an elite tackle by any means. He's 33, so he's on the decline, but he's still going to be better than what they had last year. And they're really just giving up the 6th-rounder. So I like the move. Kenny, what do you think about this? And also, anyone listening, you can comment on this or anything else. It doesn't have to be about football. We answer everything. So, Kenny, what do you think about the trade?
I think it's good for the Jets. I mean, the amount that I value picks that are 4th round and beyond is like there's not much difference between a 4th and a 6th-round pick so often. Occasionally there are here, but generally the talent gap is so minimal. So it's like you're not giving up much here. I love it for the Jets, and you're right. The Jets' offensive line was terrible last year. Obviously, Zach Wilson behind a great offensive line probably would not have been great. But yeah, they were in trouble, and so I think adding a veteran presence is great. I never understand these types of trades, by the way, for the Ravens. Like is giving away this veteran player more valuable, or is better than like or I'm not sure. I'm losing my train of thought. I mean, I'm losing my words here. But you know what I mean? Like what's the like? Why would you do this if you're a vet? Like you're giving up more. It seems like than what you're getting in return. That's what I meant to say.
Yeah, I think they wanted to shed some salary. I think that's one thing, and they also have a fourth round pick recently, Daniel Falele. Maybe they want to give him a chance, and they think he can take over. So Morgan Moses is kind of standing in his way. So I guess it kind of makes sense if they have no use for him. Well, I mean, we'll see what they get out of Falele, or if they want someone else, if they have someone they have their eye on in free agency or the draft. They could go that route too, but I think they did it to clear some cap space though. But you are the cap space czar, so I don't know if
I guess
what
that's
you think
my
about
problem. I guess I don't value the cap space the way
right.
they. I guess that's part of it's hard for me to value what they're doing.
Yeah, well, we saw one big cap move today with the Chargers cutting Mike Williams. The Chargers were 25 million over the cap somehow today, so they had to get rid of Mike Williams, and then they were compliant after they restructured Khalil Mack. But I know you're not a huge fan of Mike Williams anyway, so you're not gonna think that move is gonna be too devastating for the Chargers, right?
Yeah, I mean, they'll miss out on 2 good quarters a year of quality football. Then the 2 good quarters of football he plays every year were never in the same game.
Right.
So I mean,
right. And the thing is, like, he's coming off a torn ACL too, so like we may not even have those 2 quarters this year. Always risky to get a guy coming off a torn ACL. So I could definitely understand that. Plus, they have Quentin Johnston. They drafted him in the first round. Now he was awful last year, but if he improves in his second year, he won't be the first guy to have a bad rookie year and then play well his second year. So there's still a chance he does well. I'm not a huge fan, but he could definitely improve. The other trade, what'd you say?
Not bullish on him. We got to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not either. But I think the Chargers may draft Brock Bowers, the tight end from Georgia, and he would basically be the receiver too after Keenan Allen. Like Keenan Allen's not going to be there that much longer either. So I think the Chargers need some pass catchers now. The other trade, the Niners acquired Malik Collins from the Texans for just the 7th round pick. I think it's a great trade for the Niners. Collins is, he's a guy who is a pretty good pass rusher. He's not good in run support, but he can get to the quarterback. So that's obviously very valuable. I talked about how quarterbacks don't like interior pressure all that much. So the Niners would be able to get more pressure now, especially with Eric Armstead gone. They needed to find a replacement. So I like this move for the Niners. They got him for almost nothing. The Texans, I don't know why they would trade Collins like this. It's not like they need the cap space. They just got a 7th round pick for him. If I'm Houston, I'd rather just keep Collins and not surrender the 7th round pick. But I think the Texans are definitely losers in this trade. I think Collins is a loser too, because he's played his career in Dallas and Houston, and now he goes to San Francisco. So he's going to see a decrease in pay because of state tax, and maybe he'll join the libertarian side after he sees his first paycheck.
This is similar to the Ravens. It's like, hey, what do you gain here if you're the Texans? Like, isn't Collins on your roster way more valuable to you than a 7th round pick? I just like, he's not an amazing player, but like he's a decent for the Niners. He'll just be a depth piece, a rotational piece. But for the Texans, he actually played a significant number of snaps. I guess I don't get these types of trades. It's similar to the Ravens, the Jets trade for Morgan Moses.
Yeah, I don't get it either. It's not like the Ravens where they needed some cap space. The Texans had plenty of cap space. They have a rookie in his they have a quarterback in his rookie deal too. So it's not like they're going to be hurting financially for the next few years. I really don't understand this. And I think like Houston's on the brink of being a Super Bowl contender. Like they went to the 2nd round last year. They got their feet wet in the playoffs. And now with an improved roster, they've made some good moves. I think they can make a deep run into the playoffs. You'd think that someone like Collins would be valuable for them in a playoff run where, they have to get pressure on, like in a hypothetical game against the Chiefs, like getting as much pressure on Mahomes as possible is the recipe to beating him. So they're good. I think they're going to miss Collins, and maybe they'll nail the 7th round pick and get a Pro Bowler, but probably not.
Yeah, I never these types of trades happen every year. There's at least a few, and I'm always a little bit perplexed. I'm going, what wasn't that guy's not can't contribute to your team?
Yeah.
And so, uh, yeah, I don't know. Maybe they, those guys know something better than we do. He's on their team. He's in their locker room. They
Yeah.
see him in practice every day. Obviously, the team looks at them and thinks he's expendable.
Yeah, it's a good point. I mean, maybe he's not good in the locker room or something. Yeah, I could see that. But on the surface, it looks like a great move for the Niners. Bad one for Houston. Titan Maximum 2 says the Chargers need to grab Malik Neighbors with Williams gone and Allen being old. Yeah, that's another option. If they don't go Brock Bowers, I think they could draft Malik Neighbors, LSU receiver. I think that makes a lot of sense. I assume Marvin Harrison Jr. is going to be gone in this scenario at number 4. But Neighbors is pretty close. Charlie talked to some teams who have Neighbors very close to Harrison. So, yeah, I think that's definitely a possibility. Talk about how Bowers is one as well. I think any of the pass catchers, if maybe Roma Dunze, if the Chargers like him more, like any one of those 3, I think makes sense for the Chargers with their first round pick. All right, let's get to some of the signings. We start with I know you want to go into depth here with Matt Collins, 1 year, $3 million. But unless you have any objections, we can move on. Because I use, at least he's a former Eagle, so
that's right.
Yeah.
Anyway, he's the only NFL player I've ever seen come to work at the at the training camp with a like little kid's backpack wearing. So.
Oh, I didn't see that, but
oh yeah, it's pretty funny actually. He would come with these like little kitty backpacks he wore every day. It's either really cool and like kind of like trendy, or maybe kind of weird, pedophile-ish. Not sure which one.
Yeah, I don't. I mean, I don't know. I don't know what to say about that, but like, I feel like if he's that blatant about it, then it's not. So I don't know. Don says, Walt, I've been checking out your mock since 2004. That's awesome. I just found this channel the other day. Just wanted to show some love. Your non-BS write-ups are appreciated. Wish you all much success. Thank you so much, Don. Really appreciate it. It's awesome that you've been checking out the site for 20 years. That's great.
And listen, Don, I totally disagree. I think Walt's BS write-ups are the most appreciated, actually.
my jerks of the week stuff. Yeah. Yeah, thanks so much, Don. That's 2004. That's when I first moved to WalterFootball.com, because I started the site in 99 when it was centralhigh.net/wchirp/football.html. I sat next to you when I built the website. So that was 5 years later. 5 years later, when Central High, they kicked me off the server because I provided gambling content.
Sinner.
Yeah, right. And I was so pissed. Like, not that they removed me, but like they didn't give me any heads up. I was like, they just erased the entire website. And I'm like, couldn't you give me like a 24-hour heads up, like, so I could save my files? So I don't have like my old files, which is like kind of irrelevant, but I'd still like to see them, from time to time. But yeah, that was a dick move on their part. But we moved on to WalterFootball.com. Can you imagine if it was still centralhigh.net/wchirp/football.html?
I would imagine at some point someone would have said something.
Yeah, I think so. But imagine with all that traffic, we'd crash the Central High server. Mega Alexandria says the Bears should be working on offensive and defensive line instead of overpaying for running back and tight end. The defensive signings have been good though. Yeah, I mean, as someone who had interest in playing the Bears at 50-1 to win the Super Bowl, I'm very disappointed with their offseason so far. I have not played that yet because I said I wanted to see how they would do in free agency. And I'm not as bullish on the Bears anymore. I still think they're a good team, but they've been pretty disappointing this free agency period. But yeah, there's still time to turn it around. Titan Maximus says the Swift signing was a terrible overpay. The Titans did the same with Tony Pollard, though I like Pollard more than Swift. I completely agree. Kenny, what are your thoughts on that DeAndre Swift signing? As you're an Eagles fan. Swift signed a 3-year, $24 million deal with the Bears. I personally thought it was an overpay because Swift has a long injury history. And also, like, the Bears running backs, like, they're not – Khalil Herbert and Roschon Johnson are not as good as Swift, but I don't think they're that much worse than Swift. So it didn't feel like a major upgrade. Like, it's not like they signed Josh Jacobs or anything. So what are your thoughts on that signing? We talked about Jacob yesterday, but I wanted to hear your thoughts as an Eagles fan.
I think Khalil Herbert and DeAndre Swift are like really close in
Mhm.
talent and ability. Like, I think the gap between those guys is pretty small. So yeah, I would say Swift is better, but like not a lot better. So I think it's an odd move, and it does feel like a slight overpay. I wouldn't say it's dramatic. I mean, it's not even a 3-year deal. It's functionally a 2-year deal worth like $6.5 million a year. They could cut him at the end of the 2 years and get out of it. Like, I think I don't remember the exact breakdown, but like it felt like slight overpay, but not terrible. This is just yet another year where, I'm the president of the Khalil Herbert fan club, and I have been for like 5 years. And it's just another year where it just feels like this guy's never going to be the guy. Like, I'm just realizing this player that I've liked is never going to get the full carries.
He's still good when given the chance. I'm pretty disappointed that they signed Swift. And I liked Roschon Johnson too. I thought he was pretty good. I thought they had a good 1-2 punch. And I guess like they have 3 good running backs now, and Swift is going to get hurt at some point. So maybe Herbert could still prove himself. So I think there's still a chance. We had one signing here above Chauncey Gardner-Johnson. You could chime in on this one as well because you're an Eagles fan. But Tyler Biadasz signed a 3-year, $30 million deal. I love the signing. I love what the Redskins have done this offseason. They made some great moves. They fixed a lot of holes, and they made some sharp moves, especially on the offensive line. They signed Nick Allegretti earlier, and then Biadasz here, who's a really good center. And the Redskins had a big hole at center, so it's a nice upgrade. And they just had to find good protection because they're going to draft a quarterback at number 2 overall. And so like they didn't want their quarterback to be like the next David Carr who just gets sacked over and over again. So this is pretty important to really strengthen the offensive line, and they get to poach a good player from their rival. So I like this move overall. So what do you think about Biadasz? And if you want to talk about Gardner-Johnson or any of the other moves the Eagles have made?
Yeah, I totally agree with you. If you're going to draft a rookie quarterback, it's ideal to try to keep him upright. That's definitely helpful. I guess I'm not as bullish on the Washington. By the way, I heard someone call the Washington team today the Commandres, and I thought that's interesting. Hugh Douglas on Philadelphia Sports Radio called them the Washington Commandres. I was like, I don't know what a comadre is. Anyway, the Washington Redskins, aka Commandres. I guess I'm not as bullish, but I think I'd like this move in particular. Yeah, I think people don't realize how valuable a good center is, and maybe how hard they are to find. I mean, how many really good centers are there in the NFL? I mean, maybe there's a dozen, and not enough to go around, obviously. So I think it's a good move.
Yeah. I like this as well. I've not heard of Commandres. I've heard of people have said commandos a lot. I've heard that. I've heard the Commodores. And
I like Commodores. I like that.
Yeah, I mean it's all dumb. Like it should be Redskins or I think they should have gone with Hogs or Red Hogs. I don't know, just would have been more unique. Like Commanders is so dumb, but I've ranted about this way too much in the past. Seahawks signed Nick Harris. Oh, go ahead.
CJ Gardner-Johnson.
Oh, yeah.
I think it's a great move for the Eagles. By the way, the Eagles back 7 was just total disaster last year. They had 9. The Eagles back 7 this year, or the Eagles defense had gave up 35 touchdown passes and only had 9 interceptions this year. Like, I haven't gone back and done the research, but that's got to be an all-time bad. I mean, that's just terrible. So, yeah, I don't think Chauncey Gardner-Johnson is like an amazing player. I think he's a very good player. They know him, and I think he's very versatile. I think he's going to fit in the Fangio system really well. So I think it's a great move for the Eagles, and they need a lot more on the back 7 in addition to him.
Yeah, I like they made Sam Howell look like Joe Montana twice last year. Like they had to do something about that. Drew Lock looked good against them on Monday night. And like everyone came away from the game thinking, "Oh, Drew Lock's a good backup." You don't know how many times I heard that. Like, 'cause, I live right outside of Philly, and so many people are like, oh, Drew Lock's is pretty good. Maybe he'll get a big contract this offseason. I'm like, no, no, the Eagles defense is that bad. They make every quarterback look amazing. So, Titan Maxim says, you were heading to 4K subs. Nice. YouTube doesn't show you are live. I found you live tonight by accident. Others show live. That's interesting. I wonder why. I mean, we're using StreamYard, but I mean, like other people use StreamYard too. So it's weird that we're not showing live, but maybe I'll look into it and see why. I don't know. Maybe because we say some racy stuff on here, but probably not. I don't think we're on the radar yet. Maybe one day.
I mean, I just low key called Mac Hollins pedophile a minute ago. So.
That's true.
Maybe, sorry, Mac.
Yeah, maybe that's it. So, all right. Let's move on. Seahawks signed Nick Harris 1 year, $2.5 million. Don't need to really delve into that. Here's another signing by the Eagles. They signed Matt Hennessy 1 year, $2 million. He was hurt all last year. He used to be a starter. He got benched, but I thought he played somewhat well as a starter, and he could play center or guard. I think this is a good move for 1 year, $2 million. They needed a center with Jason Kelsey retiring, so they have someone to step in right now, but they needed a backup. So I think it's a good price for Hennessy. I like the move. They gave it a B+.
Yeah, good depth move, versatility. He's played a little bit of guard, right? He's mostly center, but played guard as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I like it. Versatility is pretty key when it comes to backups. Jordan Poyer. He signed for a 1 year, $2 million deal here. I thought this was a great move. Jordan Poyer has been a great safety for a long time. Now he's 33. He could decline, but we haven't seen any signs of regression. And the Dolphins needed an upgrade next to Javon Holland. So like 1 year, $2 million for what could be or is probably going to be a big upgrade. I love this deal. I think this is an A+. Like slam dunk signing here by the Dolphins. I'm shocked no one offered Poyer more money. Like I know he's 33, but still, like you think that he would have gotten like a 2 year, $10 million deal from someone, or maybe two for $9 million at the very least. I'm shocked by this.
I'm trying to think back to the Bills last year, and I don't remember. I didn't watch a lot of Bills games, so I only watched a handful, but I don't remember him standing out to me in either way, good or bad. And maybe that's a good thing, right? I mean, if someone's really bad, they stand out often. Mm-hmm. You see them giving up touchdowns, or that people in the telecast are mentioning them. So if a guy goes long stretches in the secondary and not being mentioned, it's probably a good sign. But it also means he's not making big plays. So I'd be curious. I wonder if our team's seeing things like, I think I agree with you. I'm like, wow, 1 year, $2 million seems really low. I would have thought he was going to be in the $5 to $8 million range. Or at least he would maybe get 2 or 3 year contract. And so I can't help but wonder, is there something on film that scared teams away? But I'm not going to pretend to have watched a bunch of, Bills secondary breakdown film type, I'm not doing that kind of work.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if there's something, I didn't see it. And all it takes is like one team to love a player to sign him. So right. It's surprising that one team didn't sign him for something more substantial. But yeah, I think the Dolphins are getting a great deal. And if he fails, they're not risking anything. Raiders signed Harrison Bryant 1 year, $3.25 million. It's probably a nothing burger there. Buccaneers signed Jordan Whitehead 2 years, $10 million. Maybe the safety market is just really suppressed right now because there are a lot of safeties on the market. And so, I mean, this is another cheap signing. Jordan Whitehead's a really good safety. He played well for the Jets. He's still 27, so it's not like he's 33 like Poyer. 2 years, $10 million. So like this is the contract I thought Poyer would get, and I thought Jordan Whitehead would get something more. But hey, I mean, Tampa's going to benefit from this. Their secondary was really bad last year, kind of like the Eagles. They're a very similar team to the Eagles last year. So this is really going to help them. So yeah, I was a big fan of the signing.
Yeah, I agree. I guess I think what you pointed out, like the gap between Whitehead and Poyer doesn't seem to be as dramatic as the numbers here are saying, right? Like, hey, by the numbers, you're saying the Whitehead is double or triple the value. That doesn't seem right. So yeah, maybe the position is depressed. I'm not sure, but I think it kind of exposes. Oh yeah, maybe the Poyer deal is even more valuable than we realize.
Mm-hmm. Poyer is a turncoat. Is a John, the Bills fan, not happy with this. John, I mean, if you feel free to chime in, like, just like, what do you think about Poyer as being a Bills fan? Because I was like, I'm pretty shocked by that contract detail. All right, let's go on. The Panthers signed Dane Jackson, another Bills turncoat going to the Panthers, although not a rival. 2 years, 14 million. This is more money than I thought Dane Jackson would get. He was benched last year, so it's like,
Yeah.
why are the Panthers giving $7 million per year to a guy who's benched? Like, feels like they could have signed someone comparable for less money. But maybe it's because I said that they have seller's remorse because they traded Dante Jackson for Deontay Johnson, and Dane Jackson sounds like Dante Jackson. So like, maybe they can tell themselves, hey, we didn't really trade this guy. So I don't know. It's like the best thing I could come up with. But this is it's not a colossal overpay, but I think it's pretty bad.
I thought you were actually being kind with a C- here. Yeah, he was not good for most of last year. Again, I'm only seen a handful of their games, and I just a moment ago said that, hey, I'm watching these games and certain players are not standing out, some certain are. Well, Jackson did stand out, and for not good reasons, right? You just mentioned he was benched. He looked lost in coverage for long stretches of last year. So I'm surprised. Well, I guess you shouldn't be surprised that the Panthers are making these kinds of decisions. I guess that's not a total surprise.
But Kenny, they have such a smart owner who they knows more than the coaches.
Yeah, clearly.
Yeah. All right. Titans. This is the big one. Titans signed Calvin Ridley, 4 years, $92 million. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of this. I'm suspecting you're not either, because I know you were more bullish on Christian Kirk during stretches last year. Now my issue here is not with Calvin Ridley's talent. I think he's definitely a high talent, and I think that he's borderline number one receiver. However, the Jaguar, like Charlie Campbell reported this, the Jaguars did not want Calvin Ridley back. And I thought it was funny seeing reports from Adam Schefter and a lot of other people saying, oh, this is coming down between Jacksonville and the Patriots. And I'm thinking like the rest of the report was like, they're negotiating now. And I'm like, this is clearly from Ridley's agent. Like it was like they're negotiating now is just like is pretty telling. I think like the Jaguars wanted nothing to do with Ridley because he was like he was really bad in the locker room. They did not like his attitude and whatnot. And so they decided to go with Gabe Davis instead of Calvin Ridley. And I personally rather have Ridley than Davis. I don't like Davis at all, but Calvin Ridley is going to be making more than $50 million more than Davis. So you are paying a premium here if you're the Titans. And I think that like I would be pretty concerned if I were Tennessee, because Ridley had a bad attitude last year in Jacksonville when he was playing with Trevor Lawrence. Now he's going to be playing with Will Levis, and like this is by far his worst quarterback that he's had as a starter. Like because in Atlanta, like when he started in Atlanta, he had Matt Ryan before Matt Ryan's collapse late in his career. He had Matt Ryan like at near the end of his prime, and then he had Trevor Lawrence, and now he's going to Will Levis. So if he had a bad attitude with Trevor Lawrence, like imagine how bad it's going to be with Will Levis. I think this is going to blow up in Tennessee's face. I think that this is not going to end well. What do you think?
Yeah, I was not bullish on Calvin Ridley. I've always thought there was a kind of a dysfunction in his game back in Atlanta. And I said that when he went to Jacksonville, I wasn't as excited. Now, after week one, I looked like maybe an idiot because he looked, he had an unbelievable game. And then he went several weeks before he seemed to have any sort of quality production. And he had very few really quality games throughout the year. So, yeah, I just think there's something with some guys, you see them be able to do all the athletic things on the field, but you just go, okay, what is going on with this guy? And you just can't help but think it's got to be in between the ears. Like there's something with his attitude or the way he thinks, the way he approaches the game. It's a mental thing or an attitude thing. And I just can't help but wonder, like, there are very few coaches that really can correct that. And I think about like Ridley, like some of the coaches he had, like think about like Nick Saban in Alabama. Like he's one of the few types of guys that know how to really navigate players and coach them up and trying to get through it, even to the biggest knuckleheads. And I don't think Doug Peterson in Jacksonville is that guy. I love Dougie P. Will forever, like, brought a Super Bowl to Philly. Love him. Pour one out for my boy. But like, I don't think he's that kind of guy. He's a player's coach. He wants to be buddy friends. You know, he's infamous for the buying ice cream for the guys. Like, he's not a disciplinarian. And it seems to me like Ridley is the kind of guy that needs that to be successful. I don't know what that's going to make. I mean, I don't know if that's what he's going to get. The Titans, and if Mike Vrabel was still there, that would obviously be a very different story. So it's hard to know it. And if you got a guy who's a little bit of a head case, a little bit of a knucklehead, bad locker room type guy, and you're just paying him a boatload of money, that's not a recipe for a guy that's going to like put in extra work. I think it's buyer beware here. I think you're generous with the C minus. By the way, the Eagles are paying AJ Brown they pay him their contract was 4 years, $100 million. Mm-hmm. Calvin Ridley's 4 years, $92 million. AJ Brown was I think $50 million guaranteed. This one's $57 million guaranteed, isn't it? You're going to be giving way more resources to this guy than the Eagles are giving the AJ Brown, or the Cowboys are giving the CeeDee Lamb, or come on, man, this is absurd. Like, he's going to be on par making money with like Justin Jefferson. Like, this is a terrible mistake.
Yeah, and I mean, the former GM was fired because he didn't retain AJ Brown. He was fired right after AJ Brown embarrassed the Titans when in that first year with the Eagles. So, so maybe this is Tennessee just trying to make amends for that or something, I guess. It is definitely an overpay. A C minus, I think you could definitely go lower than C minus. I think for a team like Tennessee though, I feel like they need to overpay because they really have nothing going for them. I think they have to kind of pay a premium for players. It could end up backfiring, but I think they're in that sort of situation where they need to do it. Like Ridley's, like, if you're Ridley, like, are you dying to go play with Will Levis, like in Tennessee? Like, I feel like you had to be offered more to go there, So right. I took that into consideration, but like, I think you're right. I think C minus is a little too high.
I'm just like, this is a lesson learned. Like, if you have a great player in house, just pay him. Don't trade him away. Like you trade away AJ Brown, who's a great player, and you end up paying the same amount or more to a significantly inferior player. Like, why do you do that? Like, that's so dumb.
Yeah. I don't disagree. John says, he's talking about Poirier here. He lives in South Florida and he always bitched about state taxes when here. I can't believe they got him for that cheap though. I don't blame him about the state taxes to bring that up again. So at least he doesn't have to pay that in Florida, but he did take a discount anyway. So it's not like he's making more necessarily than he would have elsewhere. So I'm shocked that he got signed that cheaply. And John says, Dane Jackson, LOL, thanks for the comp at Carolina. Carolina's just helping everyone out. They gave the Bears, they gave the Texans a franchise quarterback. They gave the Bears a franchise quarterback. The Panthers are really generous.
They are generous. It's very kind of them.
Yeah, Dave Tepper giving his gains away from backing the banks during the crash. That's how he made his money. So nice of David Tepper to be very generous.
Well done.
So Titans signed Mason Rudolph 1 year, $3.6 million. Steelers fans, I imagine, are crying in their sleep right now because they fell in love with Mason Rudolph down the stretch. He was so much better. Like, that's how bad Mitchell Trubisky was. Like, Mason Rudolph looks so great compared to him. But yeah, they signed Russell Wilson, so it made no sense for Rudolph to still be there. And I think the Titans needed a veteran backup because Will Levis has barely any experience. Will Levis had a great debut against Atlanta, and then he just got worse and worse every week. He looks so bad against Tampa. I can't believe how bad he looked in that game. So yeah, signing a veteran makes sense, and wouldn't surprise me if Rudolph takes over at some point.
Oh man, I would surprise me like that. Really? If Rudolph takes over, like, that means Will Levis is not even, like, he's not going to play in the end. He's not a starter in the NFL ever. Like,
I don't think he is, to be honest.
Yeah, I guess I'm still I have more confidence in him. He was really good his debut. He had some really good moments down this, maybe his like third or fourth game. That was a Monday night game or Sunday night game. I mean, he had a couple of good moments, and then he had some really bad moments. So he was really bad in some games. I just can't help to think maybe, second year in, he's going to have some opportunities to progress. But if he can't stave off Mason Rudolph, that's a really bad sign for his long-term career. Yeah, that would be a disaster. And I guess the Titans will be drafting a quarterback at the top of the 2025 draft. That's the case.
Well, I mean, quarterbacks have been benched before and come back. Drew Brees once was benched for Doug Flutie. It could happen. Like, what if Will Levis has this bad funk for a few weeks and throwing interceptions like crazy? Like, maybe they just sit him for a few weeks and have Mason Rudolph take over. Like, I mean, that could happen, And then, like, I don't think he's like necessarily condemned to be a scrub for the rest of his career, but I'm not high on Will Levis anyway. I think he's like a pretty raw quarterback. He has upside, but I just don't think he's quite there yet. And I guess like Ridley will help, but like once Ridley starts complaining, I think it's going to go south really. I don't like that they fired Mike Vrabel. I think they're going to have a downgraded coach.
That was a terrible decision.
Yeah, I didn't get it. Like, who knows? Maybe this new coach is going to be really good, but I mean, Vrabel was great for them.
Yeah.
So. Next signing is Redskins signed Bobby Wagner, 1 year, $8.5 million. It's the first time Wagner's going to be outside the NFC West in his career. But he's joining Dan Quinn, who is his former defense coordinator. So it makes sense. It's a good scheme fit. The Redskins have had like horrible linebacker play for years. Now they have Frankie Louvu and Bobby Wagner, which is like a great 1-2 punch linebacker. I really like this move. Wagner's 34, so there's he might decline, but it's a 1 year deal, so there's not much risk. So I like this the signing. What do you think?
Yeah, I agree. It's a good fit, scheme fit is a thing. But every time you have a coach coming in, giving him the opportunity to bring in some guys that he's familiar with, kind of establish culture, teach some of the younger guys scheme. We see that we see coaches do that all the time. Coordinators doing that regularly. So I think it makes sense. I not sure how much he has left in the tank. He obviously he's not the player he was a few years ago, but it seems like he's got a little bit left. So, 1 year, $8.5 million feels a little rich, but maybe not terrible.
Yeah. John asking, what do you think the Titans do with Malik Willis? Did they ask David Tepper for a first round pick for him? And like, at what point does the NFL or Goodell step in and be like, no, you can't trade with Carolina anymore. Their owner's a special guy. You can't trade with them. So it's like having a fantasy league and inviting your girlfriend into the league. So like you can take advantage of her in the league where like you just make great trades and like just take advantage of that. And, like, I feel like teams have done that with David Tepper. And if I'm a GM, like I'm just offering Tepper these bad deals that I think he's going to accept all the time. But I mean, to really answer your question, I don't know if like there's anything with Malik Willis. Like, I feel like he's just going to be a career backup. I don't think there's a reason he fell to the third round. He's not shown anything when he's starting. So, Josh Dobbs was better than him, and we've seen Josh Dobbs get benched for Nick Mullins. So, it's Malik Willis's career trajectory is not looking good.
Liberty Flames.
That's right.
Shout out.
That's right. All right. Next signing is Joe Flacco, 1 year, $8.7 million to the Colts. I love this move because Anthony Richardson is going to get hurt at some point. He takes so many hits. I think he got hurt in every single game he played in last year. He didn't leave the Rams game, but he got really banged up in that game. But he's got hurt. Like I said, he got hurt in every game, and like he's just a big injury risk. I love his upside, but man, like I feel like he's going to miss some time, and the Colts need a great backup quarterback. And Joe Flacco was awesome with Cleveland last year, so I love this move. It's only 1 year contract, so again, no risk here. I think this is all upside. I give it an A+.
Yeah, I guess this is going to be the first one where we like really disagree.
Really?
But it doesn't matter. Like, it doesn't matter. Who cares who the Colts backup quarter? Like, I don't care. It's Flacco. Like, it's like I really disagree with you, but it doesn't matter enough to really talk about it. Like, who cares? It's Flacco. Like, he was a nice story last year, but like he wasn't great. He had some really bad moments. He had some brilliant moments, but he had some really bad moments too. And who cares? He's 49 years old, and like it's a backup quarterback for the Colts. And like $8.7 million for a backup feels like a lot of money. Like, I feel like backup quarterback money should be like $3 to $5 million, but I don't. But I don't care enough. So I've already talked about it more than I should have.
Well, they almost made the playoffs last year. They were they had that play-in game on Saturday night against Houston. So I don't know. I think that like if Richardson stays healthy, they could be a contender for the playoffs. And so I think a contender for the playoffs needs a great backup quarterback, especially if their quarterback's going to get hurt, quite often.
Yeah. You feel like Flacco's career was done about like 7 years ago. So it's like, but he's just like still like hanging on. Like you gotta love it.
Yeah, he was a turnover machine. Like in some big games, like that Houston playoff game, he did commit a lot of turnovers. So maybe it's a bad sign that he's going to have to contend with Houston again if he has to play. But I don't know. He looked great at times too. So yeah, I don't know. We'll agree to disagree, I suppose. Cardinals signed Jonah Williams, 2 years, $30 million. So the Cardinals just cut DJ Humphries today, and like they found a replacement a couple hours later. Jonah Williams, I thought he played well for the Bengals left tackle, but like not that well. Like he wasn't elite. And then the Bengals got a better left tackle. They moved into right tackle. Jonah Williams complained, and he didn't play as well on the right side. So I assume that the Cardinals are going to keep him on the left side, have Paris Johnson on the right side. And so I like this move because you have to protect Kyler Murray. Like Kyler Murray has never played a full season in his career in the NFL. So to make sure that happens, you have to have a great offensive line. And I think that signing Jonah Williams here is not an elite tackle, but a pretty good tackle, I think, to a 2-year, $30 million. It makes sense to me. I think it's a good move. Say A-/B+ kind of signing. What do you think?
Yeah, you're higher on Jonah Williams than me. There are moments where he was like a turnstile. I mean, there are moments in the Bengals last year where he was not good. I feel like earlier in his career he was a better pass blocker than run blocker. I feel like that kind of reversed. Like he was a better run blocker, but like his pass blocking was very inconsistent last year. So I would give this like a B-C+. I think you're right. Like they needed someone there, so this is like plugging a hole. But I don't know. I mean, maybe there's not many options in the free agent market, but I would not love trusting Jonah Williams as my as my tackle if I were Kyler Murray. Sorry.
Well, I mean, don't you think that like the turnstile nature of his play last year had to do with him being at right tackle and not left tackle?
Yeah, it could be. Yeah, it might, that might be the issue, and maybe that solves it.
Yeah, I think he's going to be better on the left side. I hope they don't put him on the right side because, like, teams sometimes do dumb stuff like that, and who knows? Maybe Arizona will do it, but I don't know. I think they're new. I feel like Cliff Kingsbury would have done that, but I have more faith in Jonathan Gannon's coaching staff. Next signing is Cowboys signed Eric Kendricks 1 year. So it was reported earlier the Niners going to sign him. The Cowboys signed him instead. He joins, I guess he reunites with Mike Zimmer, who was his coach in Minnesota. So a good scheme fit. Cowboys get a cheap option, no risk with this 1 year deal. Kendricks is not nearly the same player he once was. He used to be a really good linebacker. He's past his prime, but he had a decent year last year, so he could still play. Be a valuable 2-down guy, I think, for the Cowboys. So I like this move. Give it an A-. There's no risk and there's some upside. What do you think?
Yeah, you're again kinder on this. I don't think he had I think he had a lot of bad moments in coverage. I don't think he's a good player. I mean, he was at one point a very good player. But I think he has long past his prime. And I can imagine him being just a kind of worn out, inconsistent veteran. I don't know what the money is. I just tried to Google the contract. I didn't see it.
Mm-hmm.
And so maybe it's so little money that it's fine. It's he's just going to be a warm body and a depth rotational piece, and he's fine. But if they've given him any amount of money that signals that maybe they're going to try to rely on him, that would be troublesome. Although as an Eagles fan, I mean, I love the Cowboys making that move. That's fantastic.
No, I don't disagree with you about his coverage ability. Like that's gone, but I think he can still play the run pretty well, and that's something Dallas needed. Like they got gashed by Aaron Jones in the playoffs. They were pretty weak against the run, so they needed some help in that department. So, like I said, I think he could play 2 downs for them. it would be a big mistake to have him in coverage. But on running downs, I think that having him on the field is going to be pretty good. And I assume that it was a low money deal because I didn't see the contract details either. But I can't imagine that they paid him anything more than $3 million, like maybe 3.5, but anything more than that, I doubt.
Yeah.
All right, so we have a couple more. Wait, last one. Sheldon Rankins, 2 years, $26 million. So actually, like I see this B plus. I feel like it should have been a B. However, actually, like I was going to give it a B, and then I moved to a B plus because I think the Bengals can afford to take a risk like this because they're on the brink of Super Bowl contention. Obviously, they were there a couple years ago, and they almost got there. The last year, they looked like they had a chance, but then Joe Burrow got hurt, and so he's going to come back. And I think that like any reinforcement could put them over the top. And like I said before, quarterbacks hate interior pressure more than anything, and Rankins provides that. Like he's a really good pass rusher. The downside with him is that he's had so many injuries in his career. So it's hard to trust him. And so like that's why I'm leaning like toward a B now instead of a B plus. But like I said, I think I like Cincinnati like just going for it. I think that there's something to say about that. Like if the Bengals are a mediocre team with no Super Bowl aspirations, like I would hate the signing. But the fact that like I think they're in a position to make a gamble.
Yeah, I actually really like this move for them. I was surprised that they made it because it's just they're not the team that pulls out a lot of cash, but they're putting significant amount of cash in this deal. There is a risk in terms of the injury, as you mentioned, but Rankins is a really good player. He's when he's healthy and he's mentally in the game, which those are two big ifs, obviously, but he's a fantastic interior rusher and he's good against the run. Not great against the run, but he's good against the run. I think they really needed to bolster this part of their team. So I like this move for them quite a bit. I think, yeah, B plus A minus is right in range there. I think he had 6 or 7 sacks last year, and it's been a couple of days. I was looking at some of the advanced analytics. He was like kind of in the top 10 on a per capita basis for pressures and hurries. Like he's getting to the quarterback, maybe not always getting sacks, but he's getting quality pressure on the quarterback. So yeah, I think Rankins is good. I also, I saw some tweets about people out of Houston making comments about his locker room presence, and again, kind of got knucklehead reputation. So I wonder, is that an issue? But you'd like to believe that they've, with Joe Burrow and the kind of the trajectory of the team, they've got a little bit of a culture there that maybe can keep that in check. So it's only a 2-year deal. It's not like they're not committing 5-6 years to him.
Yeah, I think that I'll keep it a B plus. I think I'm just worried about the injury history. Like it's pretty substantial. But yeah, all right. Now let's move on to the big topic here. So I was wrong. It's not $260. I spent $270 on this. It's
big spender.
Yeah, let's load this up. Darnell Mooney Rainmaker card. So those not familiar with Rainmakers, it's something on DraftKings where you buy cards and then use them to enter lineups, and it's basically it's half DFS, half stock market, because what you could do is if you see guys cards that are cheap, players that you're like, oh, I think this player is going to have a really good year, you could buy those players up and then either use them in lineups to make money, or you could sell them later when they do really well, and then there's more of a demand for them. So I like that. There's obviously the risk there, like if someone doesn't perform well or gets injured, like the card value drops, but there is some give and take there, but it is a lot of fun. Kenny and I open packs throughout the year, and I love Rainmakers. I think it's an amazing product. It's so much fun. I think it's better than the regular DFS, even though like the prizes aren't like you don't see like $1 million at first. They do it once a year, but like for the big contest, it's like $100K to first, so it's still substantial money that you can make there. But anyway, so they issue cards every year. The past year cards you can enter in for smaller contests, like instead of 100K, it's 5K. But you can also win cards for that current year. And so you can use those to enter in the contest. So you can win more cards, make more lineups. It's a lot of fun. So I like when signings go down, I kind of like rush to Rainmakers and like see if I can get a good bargain. And I thought this is a good one, even though I hated the signing. I gave the signing a million grade. Like I thought 3 years, 39 million was way too much for Darnell Mooney because he hasn't shown anything. So I want to preface this by saying that I did not like the signing. However, I think that like Mooney being the number 2 receiver with Kirk Cousins, with a offense coordinator I trust, and Zach Robinson, I think there's a chance that like the Falcons get something out of him. Like Mooney in the past has done well. Like 3 years ago, he had a good year. Past 2 years he has not. But I think that like maybe Atlanta saw something in him and thinks that they can turn him into a decent number 2 receiver, like a Christian Kirk type of player. I'm not saying he's going to be like Christian Kirk. I'm saying that like maybe they think he can be. And so I thought this is a good deal. And I got him for $270, Rainmaker card. As if you want to look at like other players, you have let me pull this up. So I'm not making numbers up. This is like there's 5 tiers, by the way. There's the Rainmaker tier, Legendary, Elite, Rare, and Core. And like the Rainmaker tier is the highest one. So like there are fewer of these guys. So you have so here we go. Some of the players on the market, like Drake London's 1,200, Gerald Everett 300. That's more than I spent for Mooney. KJ Osborne pretty comparable, 230. Cole Kmet 600. Noah Brown 611. Greg Zuerlein, kicker 350. You need kickers, but you get my point. Like Chase Edmonds 199. I think Mooney only being $70 more than Edmonds. I thought was a good deal. So I thought Mooney could help me win some cards. I thought it was good. A deal. It's 270. And I even asked Jacob, I'm like, what do you think a Mooney Rainmaker tier card should go for a 2023? And he guessed 700. So I thought I got a steal.
Wow.
But Kenny's going to tell me why I wasted $270.
Well, I don't know that you wasted $270. That's part of the problem, is that I actually don't know if he's good or not. That's I told you, all right, I would do this because I'm a nerd. So this is what nerds do on a random Wednesday afternoon. I went on Game Pass, the European, or I used the VPN to use NFL, because I have to use the overseas version of Game Pass because the American version of Game Pass sucks. The NFL ruined this product. Anyway, I don't even call it Game Pass. It's called like NFL Plus or something stupid like that. Anyway, so I got NFL Plus, but if you get a VPN, get the German, get a German server, get the European version of Game Pass is awesome. Anyway, so I watched I just typed in, he was only targeted on like 40, I think it was 49 targets he had on the season. And so you can just type in, targets, and you can watch it. So it only took me a few minutes. I watched every single target, every route run by Darnell Mooney in 2023. And I just don't know if he's good or not. He might be good. I think that's part of the problem. But I wonder, I think I walked away thinking Chicago didn't know how to use this guy. And so that was my end. So that was my walkaway. My walkaway was, I don't know what this guy's going to do. And so if you believe that the Falcons coaching staff is better than the Chicago coaching staff, and you believe Kirk Cousins is going to be better than Justin Fields, well, then I would imagine his numbers should be better than what we saw from. So I think this year he had, 61 targets, 31 catches on 61 targets, 400 yards, 1 touchdown. He also had 2 catches, 2 balls right in his hands at the end of the first half, 2 different times this year, where if he had caught those balls, he would have had like 33 catches for over 500 yards and 3 touchdowns. And so rather than being like the 290th fantasy player, he would have been he would have propelled like 100 spots in fantasy, something stupid like that. So it does show okay, he dropped 2 really stupid passes that he really should have caught, but it also I don't think he was being used right. He went long stretches without any targets. I don't know if that's a Justin Fields problem or a coaching problem, or does Darnell Mooney just suck? And it's just hard. So anyway, all that to say, I don't have a good take on him. And I feel like, you're watching a guy's targets, but you're like, it's hard to know. Now I have to really know, you'd have to go back and watch every single route run, by the Bears for the entire 2023 season, and to try to see what he's doing. On the plays where he's not targeted, is he not getting open? And since I'm married with children and don't want to get divorced, I don't want to waste my time doing that. My wife would not appreciate me spending the entire day watching all of the Bears games. So, all that to say, you may have wasted your money, but you may not have. And so I told you I was going to do the homework. I was going to try to figure it out, but I don't think there's enough data to figure out if Darnell Mooney is good or if it was a Chicago Bears problem. I'm willing to take a guess that maybe had more to do with the Bears coaching staff than it did Mooney himself. And maybe it's worth the risk with a new coaching staff, a new quarterback, a new system in Atlanta.
Okay. Yeah, I think I agree with what you said. Like, I was not impressed with him last year. I gave the signing an F. I think it was just a huge overpay. But I think you're right. Like, I think that we may not know at the moment. And this is a risk because, it's not like a crazy risk. $270 it is substantial. But it could really pay off though. Like if this helps me get a Jalen Hurts Rainmaker card, that'll really pay it off, So, I think that I think it's worth the risk because Atlanta thinks he's worth the risk, and I trust. I think I trust Atlanta. I think they made some good moves outside of quarterback recently. Like signing Calais Campbell, Jesse Bates. They've improved their offensive line pretty well. They drafted a good player in Drake London. They drafted Bijan Robinson, who it wasn't their fault that the coach refused to give the ball to him. But outside of the Kyle Pitts pick, I think the Falcons have managed their team well. And so, I think that I think what we're going to get out of Mooney is I think what we got out of Gabe Davis last year. Like I think Mooney is going to have some amazing games where he gets like 4 for 120 and 2 touchdowns. And then the next week he's going to catch like 2 passes for 11 yards. Like I think he's going to be a super inconsistent player like Gabe Davis was last year. But I think that like he's going to have some great games. And I guarantee that like after one of those great games, someone's going to be like, oh, you gave the Falcons an F. You're an idiot. I'm like, well, they didn't need to pay him all this money. Like they could have signed a lesser receiver, or they could have signed an equal receiver, or slightly lesser, or maybe even slightly better for less money. Like I think they just gave Mooney like unnecessarily like $39 million, like when he didn't warrant it. Just at least based on his play, like maybe not for the future, but based on his past play. But I don't like teams are desperate for receiver help. Like you see receivers getting overpaid all the time. So. Like I guess I'm not too shocked about the contract terms, but like I said, I wasn't bullish on the contract, but I think the Mooney could end up being or having some big games next year.
By the way, I just decided to buy 2 Darnell Mooney core cards.
Nice
on Raymakers. They were 20 cents each, so
20 cents each. Nice. Yeah, that's pretty good. I recommend like anyone getting into this. Well, first of all, you can do golf as well. Like you can get a free golf pack. And you should probably do this, Kenny. Like you can get a free golf pack. You get 15 free cards, and you could just make money just entering them. It doesn't cost you anything. There's no risk. But during the football season, you get a free pack as well, so you can start that way. You can enter it to either make money, or there are contests called pack parties where you can win more packs and just have better cards or at least more cards and enter them as well. So, but like if you're starting to get into this, like you can buy cards from last year, and like I said, you could get packs via the cards from last year. So that's something I recommend doing. So I like the move to get those 2 Mooney core cards for 20 cents. I think you'll get something out of that.
Well, I just claimed my mega starter pack. It's 35 cards in it. So
is that for golf?
That's for golf. Yeah.
Who's you have to tell me who's in it, or like, do you want to open it?
All right, let's open some packs, people.
Nice. All right. Want to share your screen? Yeah, exactly. I miss opening packs.
I do actually have 2 packs sitting in my 2 football packs sitting in my my portfolio. I bought for $1 each.
Nice.
All right, this is my free golf. Guys, this is my entryway into golf. Okay, so I just claimed 35 cards, and so let's. There's a lot of them here. Whoa,
yeah,
look at this.
That's pretty good. All right, let's see. All right, so you got Rory McIlroy. This is like one of the better golfers in the world. He's in a bit of a slump right now, but I think he can always break out of it. Tyrrell Hatton is I think you can burn that right now because Hatton moved to live. He's not on the PGA Tour anymore, although you can still play him in the what is it called? The majors. He's going to play in the majors.
I don't even know what live me. I don't know what that means.
Oh, so there used to be just PGA. I'm sure you know what PGA is.
Yeah, Professional Golf Association. Look at me.
Yeah. So Live is a spinoff. It's kind of like, think about it as like the XFL, except if the XFL, like hypothetically, if like the XFL got Justin Herbert and Anthony Richardson and Trevor Lawrence and Kirk Cousins, like not too many great players, but like enough to make them like substantial, not like a joke, you know? So like they have a spinoff league. And they're talking about like combining them again. But yeah, so like I'm sure you heard of Phil Mickelson. He's in Live. John Rahm, one of the better golfers in the world, he's on Live. Hatton just moved to Live this year. So you can burn that Hatton into another card. Tony Finau I actually like this week. I think he's is a good fit for this golf course. Golf's funny because like sometimes like some weeks you're like, unless you have an elite golfer, like Rory's an example, but like unless you have an elite golfer, like some golfers are like really good for a course, and then the next week they'll be really bad for a course because like some courses have a lot of water hazards, so you'll need accuracy. A lot of some courses you'll need like power off the tee. Some courses you really need to putt well, so it really depends. But like Finau, I think is a good fit for this course this week. Cameron Young is a really good player. He was in a slump last year, but he seems to have broken out of it. Brian Harmon won a major last year. He's pretty decent. Kirk Kitayama is he has high upside. He's a younger golfer. Siwoo Kim, I love this week. I bet him was it 50-1 or something to win this week. Siwoo's a really good golfer. He's a smart golfer. He's very accurate. So I like him this week. Stefan Jaeger is like the opposite. He's like a big bomber. So not a good fit for this course, but you can use him other times. Matt Kuchar is okay. Ludwig Aberg is people love him. Like he's gonna like the next big thing. He's in his second years on the PGA, and it's like his first full season too. Like he is like major potential. Adam Shank's not bad. Eric Van Rooyen's been really good this year. Kind of a surprise. Brendan Todd's fine. Aaron Rye, he's in a bit of a slump, but he's usually pretty good. Stuart Sink, not good. Michael Kim's pretty decent. Michael Kim's pretty active on social media. So people tend to like him. Kevin Kistner sucks. Carson Young is he's really improved his game. I like him a lot. Like he's done a really good job like improving himself. Nick Hardy's fine. Maverick McNeely, not really anything. Danny Willette's a scrub. Ling Mirth's a scrub. Tana Goya's a scrub. Kevin Roy is not even golfing on the PGA anymore. DA Points is terrible. Hearn, I don't think he's even golfing. Garrigus, no. Cone, no. So it looks like you got some really good ones and some crappy ones. So I guess that's like fine. Watney, no. Hoffman had I think he had a win earlier this year. Echeverria is okay. Sangmoon Bay, no. Jimmy Walker, no. Wasley Bryan, no. Bill Haas, no. All right, so yeah, you got some really good ones. You got you will scroll all the way up again. You got like you got you got okay. So you're making a lineup here. So yeah. So
the golf you play 6 guys. Is that the rule?
6 guys. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. So yeah, you got Rory, definitely. Finau, I think definitely. I think Cam Young, definitely. Ludwig Aberg, definitely. Siwoo Kim, I'll definitely put in there. And your last one, it might be Van Rooyen. Who else is there? Jaeger. I want to actually look at my rankings real fast. Van Rooyen, I have 18th this week, and Jaeger, I have 97th this week. Yeah, so the Jaeger is the guy you want on a course where you need power. So yeah, Van Rooyen, I'd make that lineup. So
all right, I'm submitting this lineup right now.
There you go. You don't even have to go to Trenton to do it. It's great.
Look at that. I live in a state that believes in freedom.
Yes.
Boom, there it is. All right. So I've just submitted my first ever Rainmakers PGA Tour contest. Man, I'm on my way to being a degenerate, just like Mr. Walt.
Yeah, just wait till you have some elite cards and legendary cards. All
right, so here's no, I do have 2 packs in football.
What are they?
So they're booster packs, 3 cards each.
Okay. So it's one of those. So it's one of those where you can get your 50% to get a rare.
That's right.
Okay, let's see. Well, hopefully you get a good rare then. Three cores.
It's all right. We got. Let's see. We got Kyle Allen.
Oof, not a good start.
We got. Miami defense.
Which you always need defenses in these older contests.
And Sky Moore. Yikes!
That was a bad pack.
Yep. That was not good. Not the best pull. All right, let's.
Did you buy these packs or?
Yeah, they were $1.
Okay. Well, I don't think you made $1 back on the first one. Well, hopefully this one's a lot better.
Here we go.
Let's get Mahomes. Let's get McCaffrey. Let's get Darnell Mooney. Let's go. All right. So you got a rare at least.
He's got a rare. All right. Let's go with Jake Ferguson. Okay.
That's it. I mean that's a good tight end. That you need tight ends for the deep roster. So it's a pretty good pull, I think.
All right. I got Treylon Burks.
Yeah.
Okay.
Not nearly as exciting with Calvin Ridley there, and it wasn't exciting to begin with.
All right, let's see right here.
Let's go, Mahomes. Who's that?
Defense.
Okay,
Cincinnati defense.
Oh, Cincinnati defense. Okay. All right. Well,
Chicago defense. Sorry.
Yeah. That's what I thought. Bears defense. Like I said, you need these defenses. So that's gonna be a valuable card for you.
That was not great pulls, but
no,
that's all right.
Well, like we always say, you should not open packs. If you do Rainmakers, don't open packs. That's a mistake you can make. Just find good values on the open market or try to win cards in pack parties.
It's so fun.
I know. It's crazy. There are golf packs going for $2,000 right now. I've not bought it. It's way too much money, but like they put an incentive. They're like, if these packs sell out, anyone who's bought a pack will get a special ticket for a gated contest with 25,000 to first and 100K in overall prizes. And so there are only 450 packs available. So like if you buy a pack and they sell out, like you automatically have a 1 in 450 chance of winning 25K. And that's like later in the year, but the packs have to sell out. I don't even know like how they're doing now, but they last I looked, like they were not selling because like it's $2,000. Like it's kind of ridiculous. I want to see how many there are now. There are 198 left. And they went on sale on they went on sale on Tuesday, I think. So we'll see. I mean, it's going to come down to the wire. Like maybe some big whale is going to buy up all of them and just guarantee themselves 198 tickets in that contest.
I feel like such a racket.
It is. Yeah. The packs are a ripoff. Yeah. But it is fun, like you said. So anyway, I guess that's it for this week. Unless you're watching something crazy on TV you want to talk about real fast.
Okay, my wife and I have been watching because I only watch what my wife watches anymore. I'm not allowed to pick television shows.
Okay.
But my wife has been watching this documentary TV show on Netflix about glass blowing.
Oh my God.
It's called Blown Away. It's kind of like reality TV. These are like the world-renowned like glass blowers. And I was just watching with her tonight. And, people ask me sometimes, Kenny, why are you against democracy? And I think to myself, have you seen human beings? Do you really trust human beings to vote? That's all I have to say. This show will make you less confident in democracy because the humans in the show are so absolutely absurd.
I always I wouldn't say get depressed, but always I'm like when you see someone dumb, like then they do some stupid things, like you can tell yourself they have the same voting power that you do. Like I don't know. I always thought that I don't know if you want to. Kenny, you lost me. This stream just lost me. John says Kennedy Jr., RFK, Rogers 2024. Apparently Rogers is going to be the VP to RFK.
Which is so absurd and so great. I love it.
I hope that if that happens, I hope he still plays in the NFL and like he has campaign rallies at the stadium after each game. I think that'd be pretty funny. But no, I can't get behind RFK. I like some of the stuff he says. Like he's definitely a much better than Biden. But like he is anti 2A. He's said some woke things. But I do hope he runs as libertarian and then libertarians get 10% of the vote, which means they would have to be invited to the debates. So I think that's like the goal to have him run as libertarian. So I agree with the whole voting thing. I always said that like I think there should be like requirements for voting. I don't know how deep you want to get into this, so maybe I don't want to get you in trouble. I just realized that if I were just talking to myself, I just go on ranting. Maybe I'll do that on Saturday when I'm just by myself. I don't want to get you in trouble because you could get canceled. I can't get canceled.
I generally, Winston Churchill famously said that democracy is the worst form of government except all others. It's like, like it's terrible to idea you would give regular people the opportunity to vote, but like when you consider the alternatives, those are worse. Tyranny. Yep. So I guess I'll stick with dumb people voting.
Yeah, I guess so. No, I'll save it for Saturday or maybe Thursday if Tom wants to talk about it. But I do think there should be I think there are 4 requirements to voting, and I think you should have to meet one of them to vote. But I'll leave that as a cliffhanger for Saturday. Nice. I'll talk about that on Saturday. So,
well, if anyone wants to feel better about themselves, go watch Blown Away on Netflix.
Oh man, I will not be doing that, but I'll take your word for it. So
I'll just put it. One of the characters, one of the people on the show, may or may not be making a glass womb because she hopes that one day men will be able to install glass wombs so that they can have babies.
Wow. That's okay. I see why you have these thoughts now.
Blown away. It's actually the art of blowing glass is actually pretty remarkable to consider. And I didn't think it was that impressive. I didn't think anything of it until my wife watched the show and I was like, wow, that's actually really cool. So anyway.
Yeah. I mean, something I can never do, but I again, Cassandra, what on earth is happening here? I'd rather watch The View.
What is happening here? It's late. Sorry.
So, you guys can think about it. I think you need to meet one of the 4 requirements, just not all 4. All 4 would be impossible. Well, not impossible. It would be very difficult, but only one. And it is very doable. So I'll talk about that on Saturday. The View. Someone had this great idea. I can't remember who it was. I heard it from somewhere, and I want to do it. This is real fast. Like Whoopi Goldberg is like kind of off the rails and like says some weird things. And she used to be on Star Trek: The Next Generation. I think it'd be cool. Like someone gave me this idea. Like it would be funny if like you have like Captain Picard walking into 10 Forward, like Guinan, I need some advice or whatever he would say in the show. And then like instead of panning to Guinan on Star Trek, you'd pan to like Whoopi Goldberg in real life saying something weird. And then like it would go back to Picard and he's just like this. I think like a edited video like that would be funny. And I was like, I don't know how to edit videos, but I would do that if I could.
I believe you could learn. I believe in you, Walt.
I could learn. I just don't have time, like with the 2 kids and all the stuff with the site, but maybe during the summer I'll do it if no one else does it. But
excellent.
All right. Anyway, do you want to plug thecapIsFake.com? I'm not longer sharing my screen, but
thecapIsFake.com. If anyone's interested in checking out cap related articles, plenty of stuff there. Got some other stuff as well. I am going to do a little once the kind of free agency season is kind of plateaus. I'm going to do a little bit of a write up, kind of like some of the most cap related issues in going into the 2024 season. I mean, the biggest thing, by the way, that I'm going to be talking about is how much the cap has gone up. The cap has gone up, went up by $30 million, $32 million. Just for comparison, the first year, the salary cap in 1994, it was $34 million was the salary cap. So like that was the salary cap. Like that's how much it increased by this year.
Wow.
And then the other thing, the other projections are the teams that spend the most amount of cash in 2024 versus the teams that spend the least amount of cash at the very top 5 versus the bottom 5. There's probably going to be about $120 million gap, which is almost 50% of the cap number of 250. So it's like, if the cap is supposed to have teams spend the most, a comparable amount of money, it's clearly not doing that because we're going to have some teams spending about $120 million more than other teams. And so, like, there's just this, it's the same culprits at the bottom every time. The Packers, it's the Patriots, it's the Bengals, the Cardinals. It's the same cheapskates over and over again at the bottom.
Yeah, that's why we were surprised by the ranking signing by the Bengals. Yeah. So I look forward to those articles. So yeah, definitely check out thecapsfake.com if you haven't already. Some great stuff on there. And I will be back tomorrow with Tom. We'll see where he is in Game of Thrones. It's always exciting. Oh, Kenny, by the way, Tom is watching Game of Thrones for the first time. So I
tell him it ends at season 5 and don't continue after that.
No, season 6, right? The Battle of the Bastards.
Okay, season 6, and then do not go on after that. Tell him, do not do it.
I did, and I even said that I would have you on once he gets to season 6. At the end of it, I will have you on just to enforce it, just to be like, no, just stop, don't do it, because they, as you know, they bastardized the show. Unfortunately,
literally, it's one of the worst experiences of my adult life was watching season 7 and 8.
It's horrible, absolutely horrible. John says season 7 and 8 should be remade. If they can get the actor, I feel like the challenge is getting the actors to do it. Like, could they get everyone to do it? Like, if they could, I would love it. I just don't know if they can, but like that, they should be remade. I completely agree.
It would not surprise me if some studio down the road remakes the entire series. Probably 20 years on the road, 30 years on the road, right? But
oh my God, it's gonna be remade so many times over the next couple hundred years. Yeah. So many times. We've seen that a lot. So. And I will point this out. In the final episode, Tyrion said to Jon, he's like, "I'll see you in 10 or 15 years." I can't remember the quote. I don't want to go back and watch it, but Tyrion says something to Jon that was like, "I'll see you in 10 years or 15 years." So maybe that's when they're going to remake the season 7 and 8. Maybe, we'll see. Hopefully. Yeah, we'll see. Anyway, Tom, tomorrow we'll go over more free agency, and then we'll check in on Tom to see where he is in Game of Thrones. He's watched the first 3 episodes thus far. He likes it a lot, so just get his thoughts on it as we go, which is always fun. And then Saturday, I think I'm going solo on Saturday, and just recapping more free agency and trades, and then back with Jacob on Tuesday. So that's our schedule. Please hit like, subscribe, comment below, share this video, visit the link in the description for the merch store. All that helps us out a lot. John says 20 years, maybe George R. R. Martin will finish Winds of Winter by then.
Never going to happen.
I think he's stuck. He's done other work. I've said this to Tom. He's done other books. He's written other books. He's worked on TV shows. It's not like he's on the beach every day, like just being lazy. He's been working. I just don't think he knows how to finish it.
It's never gonna. I have zero confidence it's ever gonna happen. He's gonna die, and it won't be done.
I think I agree. I think it'll be published after his death. Like, I think someone is going to take his work and put it together and try to release it. So I think that's what's going to happen. Anyway, yes. Thanks so much, guys, for commenting, watching. Really appreciate it. And we'll be back tomorrow with Tom. Kenny, always great to do this with you. Kenny, check out thecapspeak.com, and we'll see you tomorrow.
My pleasure. You the man, Walt.
You too.